Hi. So I'm coming into view. So I'm coming at this practice today with this thought in my head of a few thoughts. Why do we practice yoga? What is yoga? Why practice it? Why practice different resorts? What do they mean to people? What do they bring you? Is it a movement modality? Is it a mind-body? Well, it is a mind-body connection, but it's only if you take it that way. Otherwise, you can just go through poses as a means to do physical exercise. How does it transfer from that to life? So you could do it as a way to calm. If you're going through an emotional state, you move. But why yoga? What are they bringing you? Has it lost its essence? And then this all leads me into what state do we want to be in life? Lots of discussions about love with a few friends. And what is love? Can you love everybody? Can you love everybody equally? If love then is not equal, then it's conditional, then therefore it's not love. Weird conversations going on, and I'm loving them. Then the other thing is then human being. What does it mean to be human? And I don't want to go into the being, doing thing. I have nothing wrong with doing, we all do. But doing versus being, what is being? Is that love? Is that not? Is that emotions? What makes us human over just an animal who doesn't necessarily have the same emotional capacity or the means to express themselves? Or doesn't, I don't know. See where I'm going? Anyway, as I come to the mat, I don't know what I'm going to do. I really don't. I'll do the voiceover later and put something to it. Or maybe I won't, because this is not something that I want to share with everyone. I don't know right now. So I'm going to the mat in this state of calmness, for sure, but curiosity to see what comes up, where my body wants to go. It might be yoga, it might be yoga poses, it might be Pilates, it might be bouncing, it might be wiggling, it might be a lot of different things. And does it really matter what it is? Because if I'm just doing something to bring my breath, my mind, my body together to help me clear things, is that yoga? Or is that just movement? Is that movement with mindfulness? Interesting. Anyway, if anyone has some thoughts on this, then I would be very happy to hear them. Always willing to share, thought, think, change my mind. I like doing that too. If I need to, then I do. But for now, it's nice and warm-ish in comparison to earlier. I think I need to square this off a little bit. And hopefully not knock it over. And, well, let's see what comes up for me on the mat today. Wonder Woman. Childhood hero. Adult hero. Love the latest outfit. So, please come to your mats, find your own space of calm, or whatever your intention is. Take a moment to set it. And if you want to follow my flow, if not, you just want to hear my babble and then go for it. Do your thing. Otherwise, let's see my state when I have finished. Alright, so voiceover time, and here I am. I decided hands and knees to begin. And I'm doing this literally after I videoed it to remind myself what I was going through, and also hoping the recording works. So I started just with breath. My belly went down, I pulled it in on my exhale. Just bring myself into a calm space before I just started moving my spine into a general cat stretch. I did it with a noticing of where I was moving through from and what needed to open. So what I've realized afterwards is there was a lot of opening that I wanted to do in the mid-lower part of my back. And that's what I worked through. So my inhale took me up, and I exhaled here as well. Inhaled and then exhaled down. So I took longer with the breath. This wasn't on one breath. My lower back is starting to get a little bit stiff, so worked through the tail. Really pushed up through my arms and my feet down here to not just be in my upper back, but to try to get into my lower back a little bit too. Tail went up, body dropped down, breathe in, eyes went up, and I had my eyes closed. I just wanted to focus inside. Shifting forward, pushing back, lifting and down dog. Knees bend to again help me lift up through my sit bones, open the space in my hips. Heels drop rounded. I went through, under, wiggled, shifted, round back, forward a bit, tail up. Again, noticing where I'm moving from and through, and trying to tune into where did I want to go next. So staying with where I was, but also thinking, what comes up? What does my body want for this movement today? So round back to straight back, heels up, heels down, head up, head down. And just moving around through my plank. And then I love doing this one purely from a shoulder perspective. So I let the scapula glide on the ribs. And then shifting hips, leg to leg, wiggling around a little bit more. To walking the dog with a hip wiggle. And heel sink and down. Toes, always a good one for me. So there's going to be certain things that you always kind of go to. And then it was like, oh, I want a side bend. So I came into a Z sit, reached up, and I put my hand behind my head because I really felt the need to let that shoulder blade lift and open. And turning down, turning up. This was really important for me today, just to open up the mid space between my shoulder blades. Dropping down, turning, and the hand behind my head has a wee bit of traction, and the hand on my foot also was giving me a bit of a push. And as I twisted even more, I could pull myself into it, and I was like, where am I tightening? Where am I holding too much? And a lot of the time I'm noticing I'm tensing my jaw recently, so I was trying to release through my lower jaw, which I'm doing as I talk. And then opening here, turning, lifting, trying to push my hips down. Again, this is a position my hips don't always like. Wiggling a bit. And again, as I turn open and then turn down, upper back's getting some movement. That kind of helps me get more breath and opening in my body. Chest opens. Again, sitting at a computer, working through a trackpad. It's not doing my right shoulder any favors. And just being open to what comes up. Pushing back. Now, here was a really nice alternative to pigeon, which we would normally do. My left foot was just really straight underneath me. Knee problems, please don't do. And I just rocked forward and back through, if you notice, my right foot, which really helped my right hip to open. Lifting a little bit through the chest again, pushing back through the arms. Just going, wow, how does that feel for a change? Whew, down dog. Wiggling it out, shifting through. And if you need to bend the knees, bend the knees. I took a lot of the vinyasa flow out because it was getting too much for me, to be honest. My body was going, especially my right elbow was going, something's going on, so took it out a wee bit. Sitting into that Z sit the other way, hand behind the head, pulling the elbow or lifting the elbow to the ceiling helped that scapular move for me. Left hand rolling onto the foot, again give me a bit more of traction. Lifting, opening, turning, shoulder blades spread wide, breath can come in the back. And I thought, where am I efforting? Where am I making too much of this? Where can I just be heavy and let go? And it did need to be through my arms, my upper body, my neck, my head, my jaw again, as I just let myself hang over that left leg. Pulling myself into it, but pulling without too much force. That was the big thing. Often we can really into things, and doesn't always serve us. Coming open, going the other way, rotating down. Aim to keep the left hip quiet there as I opened out the chest, and this one just felt good. I get a lot of going on in that left shoulder, so I opened it. If you want to move through this, please move. It felt good for you to hold as I'm doing there, then hold and just breathe into the tightness. That breath is very powerful into the space where your feeling is gripping a little bit. Opening, dropping down, again spreading the shoulder blades, rounding off. Using my hands a wee bit to push. And then the weird pigeon, which I guess isn't pigeon. Through the foot, pushing heel forward and backwards, rocking through, noticing the different side to side. And another realization was, the more our bodies are in balance, left to right, obviously the less pain we've got, the ease of motion you've got for the day, space in the joints. How flexible do we need to be to live our lives? Great question in self. So these things that come up in that, why do we want to do this? How open do we need to be? How flexible do you need to be? What serves you? So coming forward, again, I played with my foot, letting that hip drop, and my body was just crying out for side bending. So I lifted, I opened, again, focused thought, where's tension, where do I not want it? Round back, open back, round back, open back. Turning through my neck, again, another place where if I'm locking my jaw, I was finding my neck was getting a bit of tension. And back to that arm behind the head to let that rib cage on that side open. Using the opposite hand as a bit of a drive and a press to create contrast. Pushing through the heel, and this is where I started to think, oh, energy out. Energy out through my body, positive energy out through my body as well. Who knows if it makes any difference, but you know what, it's not hurting anybody, so as my friend, if she listens to this, might laugh, being a bit woo-woo with the energy I'm sending into the universe. Turning, dropping down, again, I had to go, let go, Lisa, let the shoulders melt. In a nice way, being nice to myself, not being, oh, why are my shoulders so tight? It's like, oh, check it out, and chill. Other leg comes in. This is a hip that for me is a bit tighter. Things going on that, again, working through, and that is one thing that movement, yoga poses, Pilates, stretch, all these different modalities, Tai Chi, martial arts, opening up joints, getting us into a space where our bodies, I crunch my left side so I have to open it there, getting our bodies into a space where the energy can flow through the most, so we expend less energy in a way to do anything. I hope that makes sense. Opening, dropping, go on, shoulders are going to melt down any minute, to just let myself twist and turn. I do a lot of upper body movement in anything that I tend to do, to be honest, whether it's like this or different movement patterns. And if you look at a lot of animal flow as well, that's another really cool one, parkour, movement, back to natural body patterns, and letting the animal out in us, bringing back the child, another thing, shifting forward. So there's so many ways to move. This one for me was just hanging out there, which I don't always very often do, just hang out. So again, where does that come up in my life? I tend to do a lot of stuff, which I'm very happy about. Do and be, big conversations can be had about that one. But right now I was just letting myself be and trying to figure out what are my learnings from this? What can I take off the map? What do I need to bring into my daily life, basically? And this is in my head, I remember, so I was going to just come into the squat and do the normal prayer hands, and I went, I don't want to do them today. So I went, you know what, link my fingers together and lift and reach and open. And this is where I started thinking about, well, maybe animal movements are better for our body. Flowing through, we are animals, so how does an animal want to move? How does a baby move? And that's why I just went, oh, look, you know what if I just open back and go like this? I have no idea. This might have a name for all I know. It just went, you know what, put one knee down, stretch back and open, and then see what it's like to come out of it. Not that graceful. And it's like, so what? Exploring the body, exploring the movement, exploring the space that is around me and not just within me. And you know what, then I went, God, I want triangle. So by allowing myself to take time into the poses, I kind of felt as well that I was also tuning in that much to go, what do I want? How cool is that? I wanted triangle. So because I know movement as a teacher, flourish, reach and open, that kind of allows me to maybe think in myself more where I want to go rather than follow a set system. Now, triangle is often a straight spine, but today it was that big lateral flexion arch. And I was using a lot of weight on my hand and ankle there, checking I was still in my big toe, turning the hips. But this time I wanted to let the ribs float up to the ceiling. Again, just this opening. Obviously I'm feeling a little bit cramped today, maybe because it's 4 weeks into quarantine in Spain. And then again, this feeling of turning, dropping. Back of the legs went, oh, opening up my back. Don't know, maybe that means I've got to open up to my history and that's what's behind. You can overanalyze. So right now I'm not going to. I'm just going to take a lunge and then go, push back, step into down dog, and just think, how does it feel this side? Other leg, flicking, coming through into the triangle this side. I tend to do that with my hips. I like the feeling that I can drop that femur on my left side. Sorry about that. Opening my hips to the side and hanging down, letting my head drop, letting my arm be heavy. So there was a thought of, where is this? Where's that? How can I open? Open. That is the word, isn't it? Open. Release the ribs. So the more space that I feel I have in my rib cage, front, back, sides, the more breath I can take into my body. Breath comes in, the more oxygen goes through me, the better my body, I guess, general works if oxygen's coming in, which COVID at the moment, I guess we all need that. My sock suddenly flew across the screen there. From there, weird coming down. It was kind of a high, happy, puppy, dog, dolphin thing. It just felt right. Dropping through, and then I was like, I'm going to be, I don't know what animal I was, but I just went, meow, up and opened. Like I said, I went into this and just went, where does my body want to go? What comes up? And if you've never tried it, then encourage it. Just see. If you know enough yoga poses, then just see what goes on. Then I did feel the need to do crane. It was like, okay, so I'm doing a lot of legs, balance stuff, but there's also that feeling of strong in the upper body. Challenging here, so it was, can I stay calm in this? Can I? Whee, sock. One leg, then the other. And I went, all right, how does that feel? Where's the weight in my hands? Where did I need to push? Where did I need to be? What did I need to change or do to give me a better sense of lift and hold? I have to say, I don't know how they do the jump back from here or put their heads on the floor and go up. For me, just getting here and balancing for about 3, 5, 6 seconds is like, yay me! Honestly, that's kind of where I go with it. Will I ever get there? I don't know, there's lots of other things I like to do. This one was a bit of a play on a Pilates side bend lift. Again, I went for this back opening thing. And then from here, just check the foot turns forward there. It's a version of a twist. And I moved my back leg to come across because I got this great stretch through my hip. Side body. So much here was about my side body. And then it was, how do I come out of this gently and not just collapse? And that came up later for me as well. So right now we're in this state of chaos in the world. What's going to happen at the end? How do we deal with it when we come out of this chaos? Can we still stay calm and move into a new space? I hope so. We can all build that strength and that capacity to do it. Maybe this time out is learning that. A little bit of a cat stretch again to find balance in the middle, because I did both sides there, sorry, while I'm talking away. Opposites here, opening up through my chest, opening up through my hip, lifting. It just came to me. There's that twist coming through me as well there. So my hips are not staying level. And we're not always in symmetry, we're not always in balance, we're not always aligned in life. And I think what you can learn on any movements that you do is also, well, how do I do that out of life? What's it like to not be in balance when I'm out of my norm? And then from there I was like, okay, opposites, great. Moved one foot round to the side, and then went same side.
Opening up a different way through the hip this time, a little bit of back bend. I actually did try to arch my back here, lifted my foot, pushed foot to hand, found a connection in the upper body, opened up the chest, overextended my elbow on the right side, side bended again, and then came back down. I don't know if side bent. Apologies, I am English. Opening up the hip to the other side, lifting, arch back, beautiful stretch to open up the front body. So I've really opened up the front and back body and the sides. It's funny going back and seeing what I did, I suddenly realized what I needed, a lot more open. And then from there, a little bit of a cat stretch to thinking, what did I want to do? And I wanted to sit. So I sat and I came into some spinal twists. This one is a bit of a hip thing for me as well. So I know I'm a little rounded in my lower back, it is what it is, and that's my body, but I'm aiming to lift, lengthen, and I played with where my twist was. So I did twist kind of the normal way, if you like, but what I did was keep my head straight forward. See, there's my jaw thing. I suddenly realised I don't know why, I'm not normally tensioned in my jaw, it's quite interesting for me. So I turned my chest, lifted as best I could, but kept my head straight forward. Looking to the future maybe. And then I contemplated, do I want to turn the other way? Do I not? Turning the head, dropping the chin, or some way to get a bit more of a neck stretch. Sort of gave myself a bit of a hug, wrapping that other arm around, and I was like, do I turn that way? And I went, no. If I put my hand there, I could still kind of pull myself into a twist the normal way, which is towards the knee, and use it to encourage me to still turn my head the opposite way. This is often better for my hips and for my lift. So I went to it again, pulled myself through and up, kept my head still, the counter twist through my neck, took my foot, and then I went, do I keep my hand? Then I went, no. You know what? Here's an energy thing for me. I can reach energy out through my hand, out through my leg, picking myself up. Do I have to pick myself up from anything that's happening in life right now? Maybe, maybe not. But on that one, I sent things out of me. Rather than an introvert feeling, I went out. Great, this is just for my hips. It's like, you know, you need to release the hips, stretch the butt, and I also need to release my calves. And it was okay, just sit there, take the moment. It was that, what lessons does the mat teach me in life? It teaches me that when it gets a bit tough and a bit like, I don't want to be here, you have to be there a little bit longer and work your shit out. Technical, very technical. Releasing, pushing up, pushing over, always noticing I tend to do my left arm. Balance to step it back a little bit so I could cross my legs and come through to the stretch the other way. So left leg was on top, so I'm turning towards it. And with this, again, keeping my head straight forward, letting my neck take a little bit of a stretch, using my hand to keep me lifted, grounding through the hips, wrapping my arm, still attempting to stay turned the same way, using my arm slightly differently. There's so many ways that we can do things, and it's not restricting ourselves to any one way. Again, letting the breath flow. Whatever your breath is, as long as you're breathing and having some awareness on it, I'm all good with that. I do tend to nose breathe. I don't know if it's Ujjayi breathing. I just breathe. Again, opening, lifting. Interesting, I turned my head this way. So I looked over my shoulder. Accidental, just was. Taking hold of the foot, reaching again, sending energy out and away, and then lifting up. It's really interesting to watch and see. Maybe you video yourselves and just think, oh, you pick up a lot on stuff and you see asymmetries, and again, the body likes balance, and it's good for us to have balance as best we can. We're not perfectly symmetrical, but it's the asymmetries in our joints and our patterns It generally can cause some wear and tear on us. We may get pain from it, we may not, but the more we can be in balance. Sorry, it makes me laugh because it goes back to so many conversations I've been having. Balance in life, what is balance, what does it mean, what place to come from. And funny I say that because now this was my tiptoe balance. So we often do poses with our feet flat, and I went, well, what's it like if I don't? What's it like to let myself be on my tiptoes and challenge a different way? Curiosity. That's what a lot of this is about at times for movement. What does it feel like when I do this or this? But I go back to my original thought was, well, kind of what's yoga? What's a practice? What's a moving practice for any of us? So I do love this pose. So as I went into a half moon, I did my best to stay and wobble on my toes. Again, the challenge of how do I stay calm when there's more going on. So there's so much going on, my foot's going, I don't know, taking my hand off and just being on my fingertips on the other one. It's like, then what do I do with my foot? Do I point it or flex it on the back? Can I turn my hips, turn my chest? How much do I open? Do I want to even try to turn my head? Because I know that's going to wobbly me even more. How can I take all of this in and still stay calm? I'm quite proud of myself for doing that, I have to say. Then, same as we said earlier, can we come out of these things with the same sense of calm? Oh, big split stretch. Love this one. If I ever get my leg vertical, I think I would have broken my hips to get there. All right, coming down and then, okay, back into the balance. What happens the other side? Turning through, opening, lengthening, reaching. What am I reaching for? Great question. What am I reaching for? What's my purpose? What's my goal? Where do I want to go in life? Or maybe a little bit deep for practice, but again, these are the things that often come to me when I'm moving. As well as thinking, what does my body want? So there's so many things that can come up, and the more I question, the more I do think that's the point in movement, to flow through. You can let your mind be free, or we can think. Coming down, coming forward into a version of swan or up dog. Dropping, opening, lifting. I got to focus on my elbows a little bit more, you'll notice. And then I wanted to do, it's not a bow pose, it's just bow legs. So I lifted up a little bit through the chest, but really not a lot. What I was more interested in is ankle stretch and a weird chin throat stretch. That must be, see, I just did that and I didn't realize it. Looking back now, I see my jaw needs releasing, and why not? As well as the front of my thighs. So I lifted through the knees. I actually did one then the other, trying to keep my pelvis still so I didn't go into my lower back, but really let the quads open out, because it took me into the next few moves. So my brain was thinking one step ahead. Again, are you always thinking ahead, or are you staying in the present moment? Lengthening the legs out, reaching, and then I placed my hands underneath to try to give my hips a little bit of a balance. I think they're meant to be the other way if I did it as a manual, but for me this was like, oh, release on my pubic bone, I'll be honest. A lift and open, stretching my knees as much as I could. Again, front body opening. Okay, I'd done enough at the back, so I opened up the front. And then sitting forward. Please, if you're doing this practice, if this one hurts your knees, don't. So the knees came relative together. I get my calves out my way, and I set back into hero. So who's the hero in your life? Funny I say that now, actually. I didn't think of the pose as I was doing it. I just went, oh, you know, I want to sit into this, but given I've got a hero t-shirt on, I don't know. We're all heroes in our own self, and the more that we can bring our energy up at the moment, I think that's how, when we feel that we can't do anything, that's what we can do. The more of us that can stay calm in this, maybe the better for everyone. Taking a few breaths to let go into this one, for sure. It's not always the most comfortable positions for the back, so if you don't like it and you don't want to take your arms overhead, please, please, please don't. Stay seated instead. but for me this is just where I wanted to go. My knees are apart, by the way, if you're curious, because sometimes this one goes into my lower back and I don't want it to, and this just takes the pressure off. Where can we take the pressure off in life? And then when you do come out of this one, just be gentle. It's a big, big, big stretch. So ease yourself up and out of it. Obviously I liked being here. Use the elbows, push yourself up. Fling the feet round to one way, and then what felt good right now was to come into a bridge. Now this is not a high bridge or a wheel pose, this is more of a Pilates length bridge. So stretching the arms overhead without letting the ribs go pop. Articulating, so that's rolling the spine up, and then the opening comes in the front body again. I'm not overextending my back, I'm doing a straight line from shoulders to knees. Different feeling, that's all it is. And if you're not used to doing it this way, I would encourage you to try. Just try something different to the norm. That's why I've played with different movements through my life and gone, well, what's that feel like? You'll possibly always find one that's your home. For me, I always come back to Pilates principles. Even if I'm doing yoga, I'm thinking Pilates in my head, in a way. Which is why I'm now questioning, well, what is yoga? Pilates drew a lot of influence from yoga. So what is yoga? Mind-body movement with breath. Just a lot older system, but so many systems within it too. So it's the system that works for each of us individually. What's the right thing for you on any given day? Tomorrow I will do something different. This morning I walked around, I had the band and I was doing a different movement then. You know, it's like tuning into what do you need, same as what do you need to eat, to sleep, to write, to draw, to talk to. All of these questions can kind of come up when we tune in more to ourselves. Bridging is just a move I really like because I kind of let myself hang down a little bit so the back of my legs support me as my spine can go, and I do a sighing breath a lot of the time to really let tension disappear through the chest. As I came down, I took my legs wider so I could flop. I literally did just go flop, flop. Noticing, because often when I come this way, I feel a bit tighter through the right hip. So I can go, okay, what I've done seems to have worked. My right hip feels a little bit more free than it did than when I started. And because I've just done some rolling in the back, I just went, you know what, I want to flick my feet over my head. So I did. Up and I went over into a shoulder stand. Now I tend to keep my chin up more. I find it I can get into my shoulders and not crush my neck. I know different people do different things. You'll notice that's my choice. My hands are quite supportive here, and I changed my thumbs in a bit because I could actually massage. And then I tipped, so I arched my back as my legs dropped again. It was a different way for me to use gravity and get my hamstrings to stretch. And then I lifted, and this is where I changed my thumbs. They're actually inside my pelvis at the front, because I felt my left side tight, so I massaged it. Kind of let that thumb go in there, which is why I wiggled to go, okay, what's going on there? If you're not used to doing this stuff, don't. Just work with this pose or whatever you're used to, or please just go and lie down and chill for a moment. I let my feet drop, 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 keeping space, and then I went, can I balance? For me, this balance here shows me that I am in my shoulders and not too much in my head, which, keeping my eyes up more to the ceiling, not down on my nose, takes me out of my neck. Again, if you have a different practice and it works for you, please, please, please do your own. You don't just have to follow what my body's doing. This is my body, not yours. I rolled down here, went, ooh, pushed through my heels. I felt like a cat, actually. Animal thing keeps coming up a wee bit for me, so maybe that's what I'll do tomorrow. Coming down, flipping myself up, and I went, A few things came up for me here as they did when I did this voiceover. So what you'll see in the next few minutes is me coming to you and telling you a few thoughts that I had. So here I come. Thanks. Sock. So one big thing that came up was as I move through and I kind of go, tension here, where am I making too much effort, how can I release? Open up my back in particular today, in rounded back, because sitting I tend to overextend.
And one big point, and I think it doesn't matter what it is that you do, it's kind of, my point for me right now is I feel calmer, I feel a little bit more, no, shit happening in the world, always will be, this is just a little bit more than usual, and on the scale it is, and by putting myself in this place of calm, positivity, I think calm is the best word, to be honest with you. The space of, you know what, it's all okay. Whatever comes up, like that's why I did the balance on my tiptoe, because I was like, whoa, that's different. And how am I going to figure this out? But if I muscled it, or I wasn't with it, then and that energy doesn't serve any of us. And that's my take, in that whatever it takes for each individual to move himself into a space of, okay, I can deal with whatever comes up in life, I can notice it, work with the emotions, acknowledge them, figure them out, and then move on. That's of course benefit to us, but the bigger picture is that's a benefit for all of us. It's now benefit for me because in a calmer space, when I go back indoors and with my parents, I'm in a better mood. I'm not going to be quite so reactive. If I've got positive energy coming out of me, that's, depending on your beliefs, going to resonate from me out into the bigger world. And I don't know if that's just because is that yoga? Is that not? Like, can I do that? I was thinking, I used to do triathlons, right? I spent 11 hours racing, running, swimming, biking, and training God knows how many hours. And all through that put me in a better state. Endurance teaches you to work through what's going on in your head. That's for certain, because you've got nothing else to do. Focusing on the body, you have to breathe really well. So if that works for people, awesome, it puts you in a better place to then go into the day, so go do it. I think if we have to do it too much and it becomes, oh my god, it's like having a glass of wine, I must have a glass of wine to be able to relax. I think, oh, there's a funny cat coming, she's just gone, hi. It's that must do to get to this place that I'm uncertain about right now. Because then that's like an addiction. It's like there's no other way that you can figure it out. So you don't have that ability to stop, roll the mat out. Then what do? Breath work is pretty good then. It's like, how do we take these skills that we do through our hobbies, whether they be triathlon training, running, swimming, whatever it is, and put them into reality, put them into life, so that we know that capacity, we know what it's like, we know what it feels like to go, you know what? Triggered, feeling it, what am I feeling, how do I handle this, instead of boom, which is of course where our issues start a lot of the time in communication and relationships. Anyway, that's my musings. I will voice over. By the time you get to this, you'll know I would have voiced over, but that's what I'll do in a while. And well, see how you go with this. If you listen to the end, congratulations. The musings of my brain. It's all good fun. Take care.